And welcome in. A happy Tuesday to you. It is now time to talk some college basketballs. We've got 33 games on tap here today. A lot of the blue bloods in action, the big Power Five conferences, a couple of mid-majors along the way. Bottom line is we've got three big game breakdowns, three best bets. We're gonna go over with you with three of the finest at WagerTalk TV as Double R1L Steve Merrill is in the house. Also, Bryan Leonard ready to roll here and dole out some winners in college hoops. And if Steve Merrill will actually let him speak, Rob Vino will make an appearance here real quickly. So we'll see that. We'll have to check with Merrill whether or not he actually allows Vino to show up here. We do have, gentlemen, a 33 games. It's a nice card, but a lot of the household names, if you will, here. And Merrill, you are going to kick us off with one of the bigger ones here with BYU taking on Baylor. Welcome to the Big 12, BYU. They started conference play by embarrassing themselves at home, shooting 26%, I think, from three-point range and got upended by Cincinnati. Now they got to go to Baylor and take on the Bears here in their new building. So what do you think we're going to get from them this time?
Yeah, first of all, I've done enough shows with Rob Vino for the past 3 years, and nobody keeps Rob Vino from speaking. He's his own man, and he will give us some great info. In fact, he's using the game later for a best bet that I talked about earlier on WagerTalk today, and he talked about the game on the NBA show that I use. So we've been on the same side, Rob, of both games. I'm with you on those, so looking forward to hearing your analysis as well. We'll get to those best bets in a little bit. Yeah, big game breakdown. I wanted to talk BYU Baylor. I actually use this as my free play today on my page. Don't forget about those free plays each and every day at wagertalk.com. And I like the over in this game for a couple of reasons. Joe, you touched on the fact that BYU was coming off probably their worst offensive showing of the season. They were pretty bad at Utah earlier this year in early December when they put up just 69 points, shot just 36.5%. But they were even worse against Cincinnati, and that was at home, which makes it double worse because they're on their strong home court when they only put up 60 points, as you mentioned, on Saturday and shot just 32.5% from the field. So I look for a bounce back. I don't think this is a situation where something's wrong with the offense. I think it was just one of those one-offers. In fact, when they had that bad showing against Utah back in early to mid-December, they bounced back with a 90-point game, 86, 101, and 94-point games the next four times out. They shot 50% or better in three of those next four games until that clunker against Cincinnati. So I think they got it out of their system. I think this will be a high-scoring game, and I think Baylor can also match with the points. Baylor's a team that's shooting almost 52% on the season, averaging 88 points a game. See this one getting up and over the 154 tonight when they meet at 9 o'clock Eastern.
I expect them points. They both enjoy shooting the three, that is for sure. So should be a good one there in the Big 12. We'll head over to the ACC with Bryan Leonard ready to go. And it's always fun to have Duke playing and watch how that overbearing fan base celebrates every point. Bryan, but what are we going to do here when they take on Pittsburgh tonight? What do you think we're going to get here with the Duke Blue Devils?
Yeah, the Blue Devils enter play 11-3 on the season, 2-1 in the ACC. They've currently won 6 straight games after winning at Notre Dame 67-59 3 days ago. That was the first true road game for the Blue Devils this season, who lost back-to-back games at Arkansas and Georgia Tech 5 weeks ago. And while this team has dominated at home, they've been really good at home. It's very important to take care of this level of competition when you go on the road. When you're looking at effective shooting percentages, Duke's offense, 55.1, defense, 48.7. They do have Georgia Tech revenge on deck, but I don't think they look past this Panther squad, especially because they have not played as well on the road as they have at home. Pitt's 10-5 on the year, but just 1-3 in the ACC. The lone conference win came last time out in a 83-70 road win at Louisville. Pitt's 3 league losses this year have been by margins of 9, 8, and 13 points, with 2 of those defeats coming in this building. So while the Pitt defense allows an excellent 45.4%, their effective field goal percentage at home is only 51, their effective field goal percentage offensively, 51.4. Pitt doesn't play for a full 7 days after this one. So you know you're going to get their best effort here, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough to beat this Duke team here. The line seems fair. Pitt coming in at 1-3 in conference with the week off coming up. It's important for them to get this victory, but I just don't think they've been very good when they step up in class. Give me Duke. I think the number's fair here.
All right, liking a number for Duke to handle business as usual with them, and then we head out to the Mountain West. And Rob Vino, who interesting team here, Colorado State, came back down to earth a little bit there against Utah State. Now they got to take on Boise State here, but some people either love this Colorado State team or some people think maybe they're a tad overrated. Which side of the fence are you on with them against Boise tonight?
Well, I guess tonight I would be one that's in love with Colorado State, right? Because that's the side I'm going to use here, -2 points. But of course, our opinions fluctuate night to night. Maybe we like them one day, we don't like them the next. Let's go over that Utah State game a little bit here, Joe, that you just talked about. 77-72 loss at Utah on Saturday for CSU. The game was won by Utah State basically at the free throw line in that game. They had 12 more attempts, 23-11. It's understandable. CSU fouled a little bit late to try and stay in the game. But what is really tough to swallow is the fact that even though Utah State only had 12 more attempts, they scored 16 more points from the free throw line. Colorado State in that game, 4 of 11, 36.4% from the free throw line. And this is the nation's 37th best free throw shooting team. The three guys that go 2 for 7 from the line in that contest are all 76% or better free throw shooters. So they had good free throw shooters at the line. They missed a bunch, wind up losing the game. They got crushed on the boards by 12. And uncharacteristically, they missed 16 of their 24 three-point attempts again. Not only are they a good free throw shooting team, but they're a really good three-point shooting team, ranked 51st in the nation in three-point percentage. So some of that needs to come back. Positive regression here. That's at least what I'm looking for in this case. Boise, however, not an easy place to go play. 7-0 at home. Let's decipher those 7, right? 5 of those were against bad basketball teams, ranking between number 171 and 356 in Ken Palm's numbers. But they did record a couple of home wins against good clubs. They beat San Francisco by 5. They beat North Texas by 5. So Boise's a tough place to play. But the CSU side, when you look at it, although none of them, or at least 3 of them, haven't been on true road floors, they've beaten 6 top 100 teams already. That's a lot of teams to beat. 3 of them they beat at home. 3 they beat on neutrals. They beat Creighton. They beat Boston College. In fact, they beat Creighton by 21. Beat BC. Both of those games were in Kansas City. Then they beat Washington in Las Vegas. So again, 6 wins against top 100 teams. We'll see if they can get one true road victory here against a really good team tonight. Of course, there's a lot of familiarity there because they're conference foes. I like the bounce back here with CSU. I don't think they go miserable from the free throw line again. I don't think they miss 16 of 24 threes again. Their ball protection is better. They're certainly shorthanded where height is concerned. Boise's the taller team. Boise's the little bit better defensive team. But Boise commits a lot of turnovers right now. So I think when you start weighing all the assets and liabilities against one another, I'm going to come up with CSU. Game's been pushed from 1.5 to 2. I'll lay the 2 in a Mountain West Conference game with Colorado State.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one here. It's a great card tonight with just 33 games on it. We'll have 3 best bets coming up here in just a second, but do want to remind you, if you're joining us for the first time here on WagerTalk TV, go ahead, become part of the family, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you could, those joining us for the live broadcast here today as college basketball in full effect here for the new year 2024. And of course, make sure you visit these guys over at WagerTalk.com. Plenty of great free plays there, as well as great write-ups. And of course, that's where you can partner up with them. So we do have these 3 best bets here tonight. All of these games are extremely interesting. We'll take it back to the top with Steve Merrill and the ACC. I haven't had Wake Forest is an interesting team to me. Florida State is not. It's just not been a great couple of years for Leonard Hamilton, Merrill. But Wake Forest just took down Miami in overtime, and this team can play, man. Steve Forbes has got these kids playing. What do you do with them here, though, in this matchup on the road against Florida State? Is it a side, a total? How are you looking at it?
Yeah, going to look at a free play here in the game between Florida State and Wake Forest for Tuesday night in just a moment. It's a free play because I have two games that are even stronger. A 2-for-1 best bet special tonight. Two strong college basketball best bets. 2-for-1 Tuesday at WagerTalk.com. Also posted a free play as well on my page. Go look at a bonus free play here in just a moment. Quick reminder, though, my one-year all-access special is still available. Yes, college football is done. We won with Michigan last night, an easy best bet winner. Finished the Bulls on a 9-2 run over the past couple weeks. Bad news is you missed the first week of January, but you can still get next January when you get the 365-day special, and that'll get you all the way through next year's college football championship. So not too late to save 41% instantly with a one-year special. Works out to just over $3 a day, just over $1.50 a play for every sport every day for the next 365 days and nights. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. All right, I like Wake Forest tonight, minus the 3 as a free play here for the show. Wake playing excellent basketball this season, 11-3 straight up. Both teams are pretty much the same defensive efficiency, about top 80 in the nation or so, but the huge difference is on the offensive side. Wake Forest is about 100 spots better in offensive efficiency ratings, and it's not a surprise. They've been an excellent shooting team this year, 38% from three-point range, 80% from the free throw line. How do you like that? Meanwhile, Florida State shooting just 67.5% from the charity stripe. And they've actually been a bit fortunate. We talk about that luck index, but I have the Steve Merrill luck index, which nobody ever talks about, and that's opponent's free throw percentage. Florida State now 14 games in. They have faced teams that average 71% shooting from the line, yet those teams have shot just 66% for the season. So that tells me that Florida State might not be quite as good as their overall defensive numbers show. And I think that'll show tonight as well. Really good offensive team, Wake Forest, 82 points a game, 48% shooting from the field. They get it done, lay the 3 in with a team that hits 80% from the charity stripe. I like laying the short number with them on the road. They should be able to pull ahead late and win yet another one here. If there's 6 straight cover, they've been quietly one of the best point spread teams in the country this year as well. Take a look at Wake Forest, an underrated squad, minus the 3 tonight at 7 Eastern. And don't forget, if you want my 2 strongest best bets and a bonus free play, go check out my page right now. 2-for-1 Tuesday special, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
All right, Brian Leonard. Somebody had to talk about the Big Ten tonight. Glad that you decided to go in that direction. Purdue taking on good old Fred Hoiberg in Nebraska there. I really wish Nebraska would have played anybody of value in the the non-conference slate of games, but they're going to play somebody of value tonight with Purdue here. So tell us what you got going on at Wager Talk and tell me why in the world I should not be betting on Purdue at this point.
I've got 4 plays up in college basketball today, and this is one of my plays here. The other was a free play. As Steven mentioned, we put that up on the site earlier, the Duke play. But Purdue is going to be one of our selections today. You can get those 4 plays, including this one, for $19. But better yet, we've got a 5% up in the NHL tonight. Having another great hockey season. Been great 7 years I've been on Wager Talk. Number 1 in net profit in the NHL. And we got a big 5% going today. And you can look into that over at the website right now. But yeah, Purdue is the team we're looking to back here. We're going to lay some chalk on today's card in this matchup. Purdue is expected to be among the elites in college basketball this season, and they've really lived up to that hype. 14-1 record, 3-1 in the Big Ten. The only loss coming at Northwestern to open up the month of December. The Boilermakers have simply been dominant at home. But other than that Northwestern loss, they've looked pretty good on neutral courts also, going a perfect 5-0. This is just their 3rd true road game on the season. They have an effective field goal percentage offensively of 56.3, which is excellent, and even better defensively, 45.4%. A big gap there, which tells you how good this team is, and they have played some good competition. Considering the teams they faced so far, those numbers are just outstanding. This is a team that deserves all the accolades they've gotten thus far. But Nebraska's been pretty good as well. 12-3 record, 2-2 in conference play. The 3 losses on the season came against teams which are currently 34-10. That said, the defeats to Creighton, Minnesota, and Wisconsin came by margins of 29, 11, and 16 points. So the Cornhuskers will look good against most competition, but haven't been able to step up when they play taking on better squads. And that's what they'll be doing here. Nebraska's offensive effective field goal percentage, 52.2, 45.2 defensively. Good defense here. They're 10-1 at home, but only 3 of those victories came against top 100 competition. I'm going to lay it here with the Boilermakers. The number seems fair, and I think Nebraska is getting a little bit more credit than what they deserve.
I could not agree with you more there. Purdue laying the 7.5, and that leaves us, of course, one more best bet coming your way. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Make sure you hit that like button for us as Rob Vino, apparently Merrill has seated your way and getting you to the mic. So he had said maybe you guys might be on the same page more than once here tonight on some of these games. Talk to me about Virginia Commonwealth and George Mason. I believe this was a game he may have talked about on WagerTalk today earlier. So go ahead, talk to us, Vino. Where are you going with this one today?
Yeah, well, if we're on the same side, that makes me happy because this is right in Steve's territory. Obviously, game in Fairfax, Virginia tonight. VCU at George Mason. George Mason opened up here 4-point favorites, total of 139. They're currently 3.5. Total's been bumped up half a point to 139.5. But I can't help but notice the differences in VCU with first-year head coach Ryan Odom, right? They're no longer that Havoc-style team that Shaka Smart, the system that he implemented years ago and the way we know VCU to play. That style's long gone here. Odom came over from Utah State, coached there for 3 years, brought a couple of his guys with him and immediately implemented his system, which is really different. And the numbers are starting to bear it out. And the troubles that VCU is having at 8-7 straight up this year seem to suggest that maybe they haven't quite gotten accustomed to either the starting unit being together or just playing this style. They're still pretty efficient offensively, Joe, but what's bothersome about this team is that they play a way slower tempo, 279 in the country. They don't force turnovers at all. Their turnover percentage is 279 in the nation. That's not the VCU that we know. And they don't steal the basketball. They're 228th in steals. VCU in years past was a team that would greet you full court, take the ball away, and score easy buckets. They weren't a great half court team, but they scored a lot of their points with that Havoc style. Totally different thing here. George Mason, on the other hand, looks to be pretty cohesive to me under Tony's skin. You've got an upper class laden team. 4 guys are either seniors or juniors in that starting lineup. They're on a 6-0 straight up run, 4-0 against the spread, 13-2 straight up overall, and 9-4-1 against the spread. It's a really good shooting team, 54.7% effective field goal percentage, and they're the 21st best 3-point shooting team in the nation. VCU, as far as 3-point defense goes, doesn't really defend it that well. So you would think that George Mason has an offensive edge on the perimeter here, and GMU plays the 2-point field goal percentage defense, the 6th best in the country, which absolutely negates the offensive asset that VCU has right now. They don't shoot it well from the perimeter, but they get a lot of buckets from 2. And that's what George Mason stops best. So you start looking at these matchups and you realize George Mason has huge advantages here. They've got a home floor advantage where they're 9-0 this year. Every single game they've won. Now, granted, there's a couple of bad teams in there, but the other 7 that they faced are all different styles, which is interesting to me. And George Mason has won every single home game by 8 or more. Here, they're only laying 3.5. I don't think that VCU, again, has adjusted quite yet to Ryan Odom. It may take a little more time. George Mason, in the meantime, looks to be very, very fluid on the floor. So I thought 3.5 was too shy here. VCU could be living on reputation here with the odds makers and the bettors, Joe. And I think that we try to be proactive, and I think a proactive fade on VCU maybe it's slightly late to the party, but I think you could join in right now and go ahead and fade VCU and see what happens. I like George Mason minus the 3.5.
All right, laying the 3.5. Merrill, in agreement there, or should we just make sure everyone sees your answer there on Wager Talk today, earlier today? You did
Check out
break this
Wager
down
Talk
that
today
game,
to see
wouldn't
if Rob Vina knows what the hell he's talking about. That's all I'll say.
All right,
But yeah,
there
I
you
went to high
go.
school 1 mile from the Patriot Center up at Robinson High School, so that was my neck of the woods. But yeah, check out WTT Wager Talk today. By the way, the NBA show just posted. Rob and I are on that. And Rob, I also broke down Magic T-Will, so check out if I agree with Rob's take on that in the NBA show as well.
Here's a hint. You're going to want to watch that. So there you got it here. Brian Leonard, Rob Vino, Steve Merrill, ready to roll. And you can see the recap here with Wake Forest for Steve Merrill. Steve Forbes doing a hell of a job with Wake Forest here. Purdue laid a 7.5. Sorry, Fred Hoiberg. Not going to work for Nebraska here. And George Mason, take advantage of the weaknesses here with VCU and stop by to see Merrill. Apparently he lives outside the school in a tent somewhere. So very good stuff there. Guys, always a pleasure. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, make plans to come back and join us again tomorrow. But if you want to check out the Wager Talk Today show there and see what Steve's breakdown was, or of course, Rob Vino's take, as well as Brian Leonard, all week long on these individual big game matchups. Just click on that video on your screen right now, and you will get access to them all. Best of luck with all the plays here today. We'll see you again.